How do you think your group shakes out next year? What are you looking for? Is there a front runner right now?
No, right now I think we got to come back in this off season. This off season, this spring, really go to work and keep evaluating guys and working. I think they've had a great role model on how to go about their business, though. So right now there's no preconceived this guy's ahead of anyone else. We're just gonna go to work every day and see how it all comes out.
Far right over here, Clay.
Weber coming along, seemed like he had a little bit of a rocky year.
Well, I wouldn't say he had a rocky year. I think, he's a young guy, and every day was a new day for him. And I think he's matured immensely through the course of the fall. I think it's hard for a lot of young guys to come in there. He wanted to play. He's a highly competitive young guy, and he wanted to play right away. And I know that there may have been some initial disappointment, but he also got hurt, so it was kind of fighting through some injury as well. And as we progressed through the season, we had made a decision we weren't going to play him, and that's not easy. That's not an easy pill to swallow when you've been playing for your whole life. But he really did. He came along really well in the latter part of the season as far as his physicality. His knee is better, is at 100%, so he's fine. And he had a good bowl practice. He did a really nice job. So we're looking forward to what's going to transpire with him as we move into the upcoming months.
And he's all in here.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Front row right, Austin.
Tony, given what Zeke provided, pass protection, catching, running, the whole package, you guys have pretty much never had to take him off the field. Do you think, as you look 9 months in advance, is this more of a committee situation if you don't have Zeke, or would you still like to identify one guy?
Well, I don't know. I think that'll kind of play itself out as we move forward. But Zeke was a very unique individual. He was a complete player, and is a complete player, I should say, as far as catching and blocking and running and all those things. But he's also so durable. You're talking about a guy who played 80 snaps in that last game, and an unbelievable competitor, and a guy that we felt that we had to keep on the field, as we've talked about in previous times. But that'll all play itself out, and if it's by committee, then that's what it will be. But as we move forward, those things, like I said, they'll play themselves out.
As you guys, I know this is probably another early conversation too. Where do you think Curtis Samuel might best fit, and will you spend more time with him, maybe in the backfield this spring? Or do you have any guess?
No, I really don't. Again, we've been out recruiting, so we really haven't had those conversations. But he's a guy that we all know is a playmaker. You can put him out on the perimeter; he can make plays. He's already proven to be able to come into the backfield and make plays. So, again, if we need to mix and match and move guys around accordingly, then that's what we'll do. But again, a lot of that's going to play itself out as we move through the spring football practice come March and April.
Second row middle, Ryan.
Yeah, Coach, with Ezekiel Elliott being so highly regarded in the NFL draft, pitching the number one guy taken off the board, how does that help in recruiting when you're going out there telling guys, this is what we've done at Ohio State, this is what we have to sell?
All they got to do is watch TV. I mean, just watch and see what we do. And as far as, and especially when you're recruiting running backs, the proof's in the pudding. You can look at a guy like Zeke and say we find ways to get him the ball, and he's going to get multiple touches. He's going to play a lot of football, and you'd like to think that other running backs are taking notice of that, and the successes that we've had here with him in the past few years, and Carlos Hyde, preceding him. So you'd like to think in recruiting that's a good thing in our favor.
Second row middle, Brian.
Pro Football Focus had a stat yesterday that said Ezekiel Elliott in 103 snaps, I think, never allowed a quarterback sack or hit or even a hurry, I think. Have you ever coached a guy like that before, and how do you kind of try to develop that into the younger guys, kind of
No, I haven't. No, I've coached some guys in previous years that were very excellent at pass pro in all my years of coaching, but not to his level. And I think that's just a tribute to how he goes to work every day and trying to perfect everything that he does, and being a multi-dimensional type of player or a complete player. And how do you ingrain that? Those guys, Bri'onte Dunn and Mike Webers of the world, they were here to witness that, and they saw how he goes to work. For young guys coming in, I think that we've got all kinds of film and footage that we can show if this is how it's done, and then we just go to work and continue to work on that trade. And but no, I've never been around that ever, so that would be dearly missed. But we got to get some other guys to do that as well.
Front row middle, Dave.
You touched on Mike Weber a little bit earlier. How close was he to playing this year, Tony? I know you had Ezekiel, you had Bri'onte backing up, so you didn't really need him. And I know Mike had the injury as well, but how close was he to playing this?
I mean, if we had needed him, we felt like we would have played him, and we felt like we needed him to do that. And to say how close, that's hard to say. I mean, we were, knock on wood, Zeke was able to stay healthy, and I think had something happened where he was going to be out for any extended period, then that would have been some real strong conversation. Okay, now how are we mixing him in? Was Mike Weber a guy that could have gone out and played 50 snaps, 60 snaps right now? No, I would say probably not. But fortunately, we didn't have to do that, and again, knock on wood, that wasn't necessary. And and you still got guys like you said, Bri'onte Dunn, who's a seasoned guy who's played a lot of football for us, and has some own success in his own right, and more special teams, mind you. But we didn't feel like that conversation never really came. Hey, we have to go do this with him, because we weren't thrust in that position.
A highly talented kid like Mike and having a red shirt, did you have to keep his spirits up?
Absolutely. That's as a coach, you wear so many different hats. In some ways, you're a psychologist in some regards, and that there is. Every young guy, it's like everybody in this room has something going on, right? There's some mental psyche to everything that you do, and I think that's part of getting to know your players, and getting to know the guys that you're with every single day, and being able to deal with their issues as they come about. It's like your own children, and issues are going to arise, and you're going to have to deal with issues, whether it be a physical issue or a mental issue, whatever it may be. And there were times that me and Mike had to sit down and say, okay, just get your head back in here, and get re-engaged, and understand the bigger picture and where we're going, and being able to show signs when you can take a young man and you can show him on film or whatever it may be the successes that he's having. And is some tangible evidence that he can put his hands on it and see it, and say, this is where we're going. Look where you've come from here to here, and here's where we're going. And that certainly helped him in a lot of ways. And they talk about it takes a village to raise them. Same thing. We got a lot of people in this facility, a lot of people involved in this program that are able to put their hands on these kids at all times if there's something going on.
Front row left, Doug.
Urban, when he was in here, said that he wants the offense to be more balanced next year. He pointed out in the Fiesta Bowl you guys dropped back and threw it more often.
Right.
How or why do you think it evolved that you guys obviously leaned on the run like that, both with Ezekiel and with JT this year?
You just said it. That guy number 15 is pretty good. I mean, and that it was working to a large degree, and so we were able to kind of ride that a little bit. And some people say we should have done this more, done that more. I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are at, and like Coach said, we're going to try to be more balanced. So, but I would like to say that's probably why. I mean, you had a guy that we believe in, obviously biased, was one of the best players in the country, in Zeke Elliott.
Urban has said that before, that and I think a lot of coaches said you want to be balanced offensively.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there any point this year where there was discussion of we're running too much, or is it like you said, it's working, so who cares about balance?
I think you always go in with the plan of, hey, we're gonna attack it this way, and we're gonna be more balanced doing this. But as the game progresses and things start to unfold, you go with what's working and continue on.
And now that you've finished this first year, just what's it like? You're working under Urban Meyer. That transition of, obviously you've worked in highly successful places before. What was it about working at Ohio State under Urban Meyer that was maybe different than before, or what did you learn, or what do you take away from this year?
Man, I've learned it. I mean, my goodness, we could be in here an hour if I wanted to tell you all the things I've learned. But really just the culture of this program. And one thing I've really garnered from working with Urban is, on a personal side of things, as I continue on my goals towards where I want to go, is the mentorship and leadership and that he provides every single day for this program. And that he's trying to build within the ranks of every unit, every position unit, the coaches, and then down to the players. And there's a culture that's been built here, and it's an unbelievable culture of toughness. When you take all the stuff from our players, the swirling around guys getting ready to go to the NFL, and the agents and the uncles and the moms and the dads and the brothers and the friends saying, hey, what about this? And for our players to stay as focused as they've been able to do, and particularly do the bowl game, and bowl game preparation, is a testament to the leadership and setting a culture of here's where we're going and keeping everybody aligned as to what the the final piece, if you will, is. And unbelievable the way he did that. And when you can have guys, the Eli Apples, and a lot of these guys that are obviously declared to go to the NFL that are running down the field on special teams. Zeke Elliott, I think, may have played one of his best games, complete games. I'm not saying yardage-wise, but complete games as he did all year. When he's out on the perimeter cutting guys down and blocking the way he did, and which he's done all year, but, I mean, he was just relentless in his play. And I think that's a testament to leadership and the culture of this program. And it's a testament to Mickey Marotti and his staff and to our athletic training staff and strength conditioning, to everybody, nutrition, to keep our guys on the field. So I think it all rolls into one. And for a young player, and I keep using Mike Weber because he's in my position group, but for a young player to be able to look and say, well, that's what he's doing, and this guy's a first rounder. This guy's a first rounder. He's running down the field, blocking people, and he's running down the field and covering kicks. I guess I can do that too. And if you don't do that, well, then what are you really doing, and how do you fit into the culture? But I think that starts with the head coach and what's mandated from the top down, and that's what I've probably learned the most. It's just some of the mentorship and leadership qualities that exist in this program, and this is there's a culture of toughness that's been established at this university.
And second row right here, Tim.
Yeah, Tony, one quickie. Beating Notre Dame, you were there less than a year ago.
It took this long to ask me that.
I know, but
Wow.
Was it weird to you? Was it weird standing there on that field during the game? I mean, are you, as Urban told the players during the week, you are where you are, right? Be where you are.
You are where you are, and you're in that
Was it
moment.
just, what kind of experience was that for you to be?
It was fine. I mean, once the ball's kicked, you could play against you could be playing against my son Rod, and I'm going to try to bust him in half. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, no, I shouldn't say that. I mean, it's my kid. But in all, it's like I'm a bad parent. No, in all seriousness, no. Really, it's just another game, and it was neat to see some of the guys that I've known and watch grow up and help recruit many of those players, and guys on the other sideline that I'm dear friends with and we'll be lifelong friends with. But once the ball's kicked off, you're just going out and playing. But so no, it wasn't. For me, it wasn't. It wasn't weird at all, and especially when we were winning. So that's a good thing,
Yeah. Two other quickies. Your redshirted Mike Weber this year. I can't remember how many of these guys leaving are third-year sophomores. Is there a risk in this day and age of, and I don't know if it's a risk, I don't know what the word you would use, of not getting, if he's as good as people think he is, he could be gone in 2 years. I mean, when you redshirt, are you, in this day and age, are you taking that into account that, or do you even look that far ahead,
I don't look that far ahead. Now, our head coach may tell you something completely different. I don't. I mean, I look at the here and now, and if a young man we feel like can play winning football for us, and maybe he's a freshman, then go. And let's go ahead. If not, then not. Then you won't. As far as the running backs go, I think, I was talking to another coach about this from another college actually this morning when I was driving in. Is we may have some guys, the Mike Webbers or the Bri'onte Dunns, the Warren Balls. People's like, gosh, he must not be any good. He's not playing. Well, no, he's really good. He's exceptionally talented, but he's sitting behind this, and this is what's working right now. And so there's no need to press a Mike Weber into something if we don't have to, and say, well, he's a freshman. He may not be here through so many years. Well, you can't really worry about that at the time. I mean, it is what it is, and so some guys will play, some guys don't, and I don't think we're going to really get into, well, he's not going to be here in 3 years. I think that's too far removed. It's more the here and now. Can you help us win right now? Are you prepared to play winning football right now, and to live your life in the proper way that you are able to come and help us? And so that's my approach. Now, I can't speak for other people, but that's how I look at things.
And last thing, at least for me, post Michigan State, the Sunday after that game, what was it like for you guys in the offensive meeting? What you can tell me? I mean, 132 yards, what it was total offense, 5 first downs. What went wrong? What did y'all fix? What was it like in those meetings as far as like the soul searching?
I guess you're
whatever
wondering
it is that goes on?
I guess maybe if I'm understanding, you're asking, do we go and beat them up? No. We all played had a hand in that, and unfortunately, that's the way the game went down. And I think first and foremost, you got to look at yourself and say, how can I do better as a coach? And did I help put my players in position to be better? And so that's where it starts. And then I think if you have good leadership in your rooms, and you have guys that you feel good about, that are responsible guys that will truly look at themselves and say, what could I do better? And that's where it starts. But really, it came down to, hey, we are where we are. It is what it is. This is what we did. We didn't get it done. It's now Sunday. We're getting ready for the team up north. We got to put that to bed and go and move.
What did you see that was different the last two games? What was different?
Oh, the focus was unbelievable. I mean, it was laser focus on that team that day. Really shouldn't say that team that day. Tuesday is Tuesday. We're going to work on Tuesday, and here's what we're trying to get done, and not really interested in what's going on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll work on today, and when that's over, we'll put it in rear view mirror and move on to the next. And just before the Fiesta Bowl, I was talking to Moose, and I sitting in the running back room watching film was like, my Lord. I mean, 2 to 3 days beforehand, things were clicking in our room, where guys were locked in as far as practice went. I mean, there were very few mistakes. Guys were stepping with the proper foot, the proper angles, proper hand placement. Everything was pretty much on point. And so you had a real good feeling about, as you moved into the game, kind of like, okay, these guys they're ready to go. And again, we got some ultra talented players. And so when you can take an ultra talented player and see that they're locked in, that's, for a coach, it's a pretty good feeling.
And last question, second row left, Lori.
Yes, Lori.
Tony, you got pretty adamant on.
I remember you. Good to see you.
Nice, I promise.
Oh, you're good.
You got pretty adamant on Twitter the other day about the way Ohio State handles itself in recruiting, and I just wanted to give you a chance if you wanted to say something about that in a forum where you're not limited by 140 characters. I mean,
You're never limited. Just do different pages.
yeah, you did do a tweet storm, but I wondered if you wanted to share that with maybe a larger audience.
You talking about when guys called out our head coach for negative recruiting? Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're pretty upset about that.
Well, because here's the deal. I played for the guy, right? And I take this very seriously. I mean, I was probably wrong in the fact that I kind of went that route, and so I got to retract. I was probably wrong in doing that. But at the same time, I played for Urban Meyer. I played for Earl Bruce, and that's where it all started. And you're talking about a guy that threw me my graduation party. You're talking about a guy that here, we talk to our players when we recruit. You talk about relationships that are built. And a lot of guys say, yeah, that's just coach speak. That, oh, I'm going to be with you forever. You're my guy, da-da-da-da, forever. Well, here I am 25, 26, 27 years later, and I still have a personal relationship with a guy that coached me. So that's real. And I know him personally. And it's just like someone taking a shot at some of our players. Well, those are people that I know and that I'm close to. And if you're close to me, I'm going to defend you. Now, did I do it in the right way? Maybe not. It is what it is. Take me for who I am. But if I felt someone took a shot, then I'm going to respond back to that. And not all the time. That's just that I was probably wrong in some regards. But do I take it back? Do I apologize? Absolutely not. But yeah, I did take exception to that because we're not into bad. Listen, this is Ohio State University. We don't have to badmouth to get anybody. This is what we do. Here's who we are. The proof's in the pudding. If you want it, great. If you don't, then go somewhere else. That's good. It is what it is, and this isn't for everybody. Just like when I was at University of Notre Dame. They're not bad-mouthing anybody, and I like to think that very few coaches, I shouldn't say that, there's fewer coaches that badmouth than do in recruiting, in my opinion. And for someone to take a shot and tell us how we do things within our own building, but again, I didn't have a lot going on that night, so I was kind of bored. So I had nothing else to do, so I kept responding. I guess I should have watched that James Bond marathon a little more. I don't know. But no, I mean, again, but if I'm, not to get emotional about it, but I have the deepest amount of respect for Urban Meyer and what he's done, professionally and personally for me. And I do. I have the utmost respect for he and Shelley. Always have. My mom, my late dad, my late brother. I mean, that's a relationship that we've had for a long time. And when that came out, it kind of like a punch in the gut. I was like, wait a minute. People that don't know this man the way I do, I took exception. But again, I probably shouldn't have gone as deep as I did. But it is what it is. I think everybody, it's all good. Whoever that guy is, you're good. Maybe we can drink and have a Coke sometime.
Thank you, Coach.
We good? Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.